All right, not a typo on your screen. 68 this morning, 98 this afternoon. There's a 30-degree difference between how we woke up and how our afternoon went, but that is because we have slightly drier air in place. I'm not saying it's not humid outside. It sure is for some neighborhoods, but if you thought today was a hot one, buckle up. We are going to see a lot more heat as we head toward the second half of this week. And yes, we're hardy Texans, we can take it, but there's a reason why you need to practice heat safety and be a little more intentional about that this week that I will explain coming up here in a moment. Just want to keep tabs on where we are, though. $3.35 in the red for our rain budget. Of course, we didn't see any of that today. Hard to find a cloud in the sky. And with all that sunshine, that's what pushed our temperatures up. We were only 2 off from that record high. First hit back in 1960, 100 degrees. I think we'll get there in Corpus Christi tomorrow. A little bit of a bold forecast here, but I'll explain my reasoning in a moment. Taking a closer look with the Chris 6 Neighborhood Weather Network for you here in Kingsville. Still feeling the heat. 92 off East County Road 2120, 94 from our Southwest Kingsville neighborhood station, and the same temperature from Bishop Badger Meadowbrook. Taking a trip now to the coast, our neighbors in Fulton also feeling the heat. Don't be deceived by the upper 80s here. That humidity, being by the water, definitely levels the playing field for us. So let's take a look at the dew point temperature across the coastal bend. This helps us understand that humidity in a different sense. Dew point temperatures kind of put that in perspective to the actual air temperature. So of course, when we have the 70s, we're feeling oppressive. But that drops off pretty quickly. Inland, we've got 42 for a dew point temperature in Beeville, which is fairly dry. The 50s, also not too bad. I wouldn't quite call it comfortable considering it's still hot out there, but just goes to show that humidity is really what paints the picture here for us. And when that sea breeze came in this afternoon, it really made things uncomfortable for some of those coastal neighborhoods. So a difference that you're going to notice more apparently through the second half of the week is that humidity. We had a huge difference between our morning low temperature and afternoon high because our air is relatively dry. So it's less dense, fewer molecules. You add a bunch of water vapor, the gas form of water, to our atmosphere, and there's a lot more going on. This is more dense, so it takes a lot more energy to heat and cool. And this is the direction we're going for the second half of the week, which is why we are going to be feeling extra yucky heading into the next couple of days. But on a more serious note, makes that heat risk more of a risk, especially for kids, pets, and the elderly who are more susceptible to heat-related illness. Even though we haven't had heat alerts, this can still be dangerous because over several days, you don't really get a chance to recover from the afternoon heat. And look at where we're sitting right now, 95 at CCIA. That says we feel like 92. I don't know about all that. Still feeling quite hot outside. But as we go through the overnight, we'll have one more comfortable morning with some fog to boot before we get off on another hot afternoon ahead. So dog walking forecast, Bones, our very cute star here. If you're trying to take your pup for a walk, frequent but shorter walks may be the best recipe here. Temperatures are going to make it down to the 70s before midnight, so that's an improvement. However, don't think the fog is going to be as problematic starting things out tomorrow morning because we're going to have a little more movement in the wind, so it doesn't allow that fog to settle quite as problematically. Still, we're going to see some of that fog being pretty dense in patches as we head toward dawn, so keep that in mind. We'll be done with that probably by about 9 o'clock in the morning. The heat comes back with a vengeance, though, into the afternoon. So keep that in mind over the next couple of days as we see hot temperatures. Make sure you're staying cool. We've got upper 90s through the rest of the week.